What's up guys, this is Ray and welcome to Asian Filmist, and I have another review of a live action adaptation of an anime manga for you guys today, and that movie is Detroit Metal City. Detroit Metal City was originally released in 2008 and it's directed by Lee Toshio and it's based on the manga of the same name written by Okazuki Kiminori. And this live action movie stars Matsuyama Kenichi, who we all know as L from the Death Note live action movies, as well as a slew of other live actions, and it also stars Kato Rosa, who plays his love interest. The story of Detroit Metal City, I think it's a charming one. It's about this young guy named Negishi, and he moves from the countryside to Tokyo to pursue not only university, but also his love for music. He wants to become a musician, but the type of music that he loves is kind of tweeny, indie pop that is often sung with guitars, and you can see that in his personality. He's really effeminate. He doesn't look like he's very strong at all. He has this really distinctive run. It kind of goes like this, and it's just hilarious. And he wants to live, the trendy life, going to trendy cafes, as he says around Shibuya and all that stuff. But while trying to score a deal at a record label, he ends up becoming the frontman of this death metal band by the name of Detroit Metal City. And it's totally opposite of what you would expect from a guy like Negishi. And the thing is, with this death metal band, they're just booming in popularity. They're a huge hit and everyone loves them. So Negishi has to balance this double life while not only still pursuing his dream of becoming a teeny indie pop musician, but also pursuing the girl of his dreams, as well as fighting off rabid fans and a manic manager. So as far as the positives are concerned with Detroit Metal City, there are a lot of them. I absolutely love this movie. Even to this day, this is one of those movies I won't get tired of no matter how many times I watch. It's just really good. I mean, first of all, the performances, but especially by Matsuyama Kenichi. Matsuyama Kenichi is amazing in this. It shows his range as an actor. I mean, he goes from the effeminate Soichi to the devilishly strong Krauser, and you wouldn't think that they would be played by the same character, let alone the same actor. I think Matsuyama Kenichi does an excellent job in portraying two personas in the same movie, but at the same time, having the audience remember that they come from the same person. Like, he does amazing things with Negishi, from his distinctive run, which I described earlier, when it kind of goes like this, his panicky face, his frail, almost kind of frail, weak body, and even his really girly voice. Matsuyama does an excellent job at utilizing all that, but when he transforms into Krauser, he has his scary growl. He's all in face paint. You can't even recognize him. And even though he's all in face paint, his body language changes. He goes from really weak to extremely strong and masculine. And the two contrast each other like day and night. And to see how they contrast each other is just hilarious. I mean, it's fun to watch, and especially when you see what happens when the two personas cross worlds, if you will. For example, when Negishi is playing Krauser, and he suddenly breaks character to do stupid stuff like do a happy dance in the same kind of dance that you would see Negishi usually do, and it's very jarring, and that's what makes it funny. And there are even a few scenes of Krauser doing things that Krauser wouldn't do, like enjoying a family breakfast and smiling happily as he chomps down on delicious food. I also love the way this movie kind of plays around with the effect that pop culture icons have in fans. And, in the case of this movie, it's how death metal has an effect on its death metal fans. For example, when Negishi goes back and visits his familial home, his little brother, in the beginning of the movie, you see a little brother, looks like a carbon copy of Negishi. He's this good country boy, and he's always in a happy mood. But then when he comes back, Negishi finds out that his little brother is a huge fan of Detroit Metal City. And remember, keep in mind, his identity as Krauser is a secret to everyone. He's living a double life, so not even his family knows that the front man of Death Metal City is Negishi. So when Negishi comes back to his hometown, he sees his brother with long hair, and he's just headbanging. He's disrespecting his mom. He's leaving his shit everywhere, and I guess is what you can expect a stereotypical death metal band to be, I guess, for the sake of this story. And then so, of course, Negishi is kind of distraught by this. He wants to bring his brother back so that way he's not a crazed rabid fan, the one of the typical fans that follow Death Metal City. So what does he do? He transforms into Krauser, and he gives him all these lessons, but in the kind of the metal way. So, for example, Negishi's little brother says he hates Negishi's haircut, makes him look like a penis. But then Krauser just growls and said, "You stupid idiot! This haircut is regarded as one of the most metal types of haircuts there are. You better respect it." And the brother, of course, he listens to Krauser because he idolizes him. He just eats everything up. And even, they live in a farm, and when it comes to doing farm work, for example, just cutting grass with a scythe, the brother's like, "Nah, I don't like it. It's a shit job." But then Krauser's like, "You idiot! Cutting grass with a scythe is just practice for when you actually go around to cutting heads off with him." It's like, what? But the brother eats it up. It's hilarious. And then after this encounter with Krauser, the brother changes back to being a good son, yet still much a fan of Detroit Metal City. That's not going to change him, but at least Negishi brings him back and makes him a good boy again. And regarding other performances, I enjoyed the performance of Matsuyuki Yasuko, who played the crazy ass manager of Negishi, and she just hams it up to 100% and doesn't hold back. And because of that, we get a legitimate, a genuine, just crazy performance from her. And she's always throwing cigarette butts at Negishi because Negishi, he wants to kind of run away from this metal life. But then the manager just says, "Suck it up," and flings a cigarette at his head and brings him back. And even the way she laughs, she just is just this real evil, maniacal laugh. And it's wonderful. And I don't know, I just love it how the manager just mixes up the F-bombs with their Japanese, and it just sounds amazing when she does it. And, this movie is about music, and I think the music that's featured in Detroit Metal City was good. It was fun. I'm not a metal fan myself, but I do enjoy some rock. And there was a phase when I would listen to a whole bunch of J-rock, and I think that the music in Detroit Metal City was legit. It was a lot of fun, and then the way it contrasts also with Negishi's own music, the music that he loves to play, it's fun, and the way there is a scene when both worlds kind of collide in concert, and the way it plays out, it was hilarious. But when it comes to negatives, there are not that many. If I had to point out my biggest gripe with this movie, it's got to be Kato Rosa's character of Aikawa, who is the love interest of Negishi. I thought her character was a little bit too perfect and just a bit boring. I mean, she's quick to forgive Negishi for any grievances, just after running away in disgust and then hearing later some short reason or excuse as to why Negishi did what he did to cause him this kind of awkward miscommunication. And then she's just quick to forgive. She's like, "Oh, is that how it was? Oh, okay, that's fine." And it's it. It's like they don't discuss further anymore about that. And I don't know, because she was so quick to forgive and she didn't put up any kind of fuss, she ended up just being really boring. And I don't know, I guess she's necessary as one of the driving motivations for Negishi, but other than that, I didn't like her character at all. I would have also loved to see more interactions, more side plots, if you will, between Negishi or Krauser and his bandmates. You only get a few scenes with interactions between them, but I would have loved to see some side adventures with them being together, both in costume and out of costume, just so we can get more contrast. But I don't know if those kinds of scenes are present in the original manga, but for this movie it would have been fun to have more of those types of scenes. And lastly, the thing which I kind of view as both a positive and a negative, or rather something I'm half and half about, is the bad guy in this movie. There is a bad guy, Jack Ill Dark, who's played by none other than Gene Simmons of Kiss, and his presence there, his character design, is awesome. It's just phenomenal. I mean, I wouldn't have asked for any other person to play this character, and it all makes sense if you think about it, because I mean, Detroit Metal City is an obvious reference to Detroit Rock City, which is a song by Kiss, and it's also the name of a movie about a bunch of fanboys who love Kiss. And I felt that Gene Simmons being in this movie was just perfect. It just rounded out the movie perfectly. However, I felt that as his role was quite underdeveloped, he's not in for that long, and I felt like it was just kind of like used as a plot device, if you will. So I would have loved to have seen Gene Simmons have a bigger presence in the story, not only in the final act, the final confrontation, but just throughout the story from the beginning to end, just so we can get to know him a lot more and just so he can seem less like a plot device. But overall, what did I think of Detroit Metal City? You know, all that aside, I loved it even to this day. Rewatching it again so I can review it for you guys, I couldn't help but smile for the same reasons that I smiled the first time I watched it. It's fun. It's funny. It relies a lot on the kind of comedy you get when you have two different worlds cross over and they just don't mix well, and the kind of awkwardness that bounces back from that. And I think this kind of comedy is quite universal. I don't think that you need to be of any specific culture to understand or appreciate the comedy that's present in Detroit Metal City. I just think it's a very universal type of comedy, and it's something I highly recommend watching if you guys haven't seen it yet. But yes, those are my thoughts on Detroit Metal City. What did you guys think, or kind of questions did you guys have? Let me know in the comment section below. Please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and by all means, please support Asian Films through Patreon. It really helps the channel a lot. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching, and hope to see you all again in the next video. Take it easy.